In the land of Ìlú Wura, the drums once spoke of peace, the rivers sang of harvest, and the people danced beneath the golden sun. It was a land blessed beyond measure, where strangers found rest and the gods smiled upon men. But even gold can rot when greed enters the heart. Their old king, Oba Adetomiwa, was a man of justice, firm, wise, and loved by all. When he died, the people wept for 7 days. Even the wind blew softly, as if mourning with them. The throne became empty, and the sacred duty of choosing the next ruler fell upon the 3 kingmakers, Chief Oluwu, Chief Ajanaku, and Chief Laro, men trusted to hear the voice of the gods. The oracle spoke clearly. The next king shall be humble in spirit, a man of clean hands, one who listens more than he speaks. And everyone knew who the gods meant. Prince Aderoju, the late king's only son, known for kindness, wisdom, and patience. But patience, they say, does not glitter like gold. For in the shadows another man waited, Fagbemi, the king's cousin, a man whose smile hid daggers. He came to the kingmakers in the night, bearing heavy calabashes filled with gold, and whispered, "Let the oracle rest, the gods will understand." The gold shone like morning light, and one by one the kingmakers' hearts grew dark. They bowed their heads not to heaven, but to the weight of silver and desire. When the morning came, they gathered the people at the palace square. Drums rolled, flutes sang, and Chief Oluwu raised his staff. "The gods have chosen," he declared. "The new king of Ìlú Wura shall be Oba Fagbemi, son of the royal bloodline and strength of our land." A roar of confusion filled the air. Some shouted with joy, but most stood in silence. Aderoju watched, calm but wounded. He knew the truth, but truth without power is like rain without clouds. That evening he went to the sacred grove to pray for understanding. The old priestess Iya Orun met him there. Her eyes were clouded with age, yet her voice thundered like the drum of Sango. "My son," she said, "the gods are not blind. The crown that is taken by lies will bleed upon the head that wears it." And true to her words, as the coronation drums sounded that night, a storm rose from the east. Lightning struck the royal tree, and the sacred bird that always sang at every crowning fell dead from the sky. The people murmured, but the kingmakers silenced them. They said, "It is nothing, only a passing wind." Yet the wind that passed carried with it the first curse upon Ìlú Wura. For when morning came, the river that flowed through the town had turned brown. The fishes floated lifeless, and the air hung heavy with silence. The gods had turned their faces away, and the kingdom that once glittered like gold had begun to rust.
From the day Fagbemi sat upon the golden throne, peace fled from the land of Ìlú Wura. The air that once carried laughter now carried whispers of fear. At first, the people tried to rejoice. They danced, they praised, they hoped for good days. But a king whose crown was bought with lies cannot bless the people, only burden them. Oba Fagbemi's heart grew proud. He surrounded himself with flatterers, men who praised his every word and feared to speak the truth. He taxed the poor until their hands trembled, took the best farms for the palace, and filled his royal storehouse with food, while children cried in the streets. Soon the market women began to murmur, The farmers began to curse, and the elders began to sigh. But the king cared not. He said, "I am the chosen of the gods. Their anger cannot touch me." Ah, but the gods were already watching. The first sign came with the rivers. The great river Onilu, which had never run dry in the memory of man, suddenly stopped flowing. Its bed cracked like broken glass, and the fishes died, their scales dull as dust. Then came the harvest season, but the yams refused to grow. Cassava roots turned black underground, and the sky, once rich with clouds, became a burning mirror of heat. Still the king did not repent. He called a feast to mock the fear of his people. Inside the palace, drums beat and meat roasted. Outside, mothers boiled leaves for their children to eat. The priestess Iya Orun went to the palace gate. Her white wrapper was torn, her staff shaking with anger. She cried, "Oba Fagbemi, you have angered the gods. You sit on a throne of blood. Return what is not yours, or the earth will swallow this kingdom." But the king only laughed. He ordered his guards, "Take this old woman away. Let her sleep in the cold until her gods feed her." They dragged her out. As she fell to the ground, she looked to the heavens and whispered, "Let justice speak through the wind." That night a strange storm gathered. No rain, no thunder, only a dark wind that howled through the streets. Palm trees bent, roofs shook, and the sacred royal drum in the temple split in two. By morning, fear filled every home. Children fell sick, goats refused to eat, and the people began to say, "The land is cursed." Even the king's chiefs began to quarrel among themselves. One of them, Chief Laoro, went mad and ran into the forest shouting, "The crown burns! The crown burns!" The remaining kingmakers grew restless, haunted by the truth they buried. They drank, they fought, and they feared to sleep at night. For in their dreams they saw the face of the true heir, Aderoju, weeping beside a broken crown. But the worst was yet to come. For when blood cries from the ground, the gods do not stay silent forever. Ìlú Wura had entered the reign of darkness, and the light of truth was still far away.
Many seasons passed, and Ìlú Wura grew weaker each day. What was once a land of gold had become a desert of sorrow. The drums no longer sang, and the laughter of children was lost to hunger. The false king, Oba Fagbemi, sat lonely upon his throne. His eyes were red from sleepless nights. He was haunted by dreams, dreams of the river goddess, her body covered in dust, her voice crying, "You have stolen the peace of my people." Even his guards began to flee. His chiefs deserted him one by one. And in the heart of the forest, far from the noise of the world, the rightful heir, Aderoju, still lived in silence. He had grown into a man of wisdom and strength. One night, as he sat by the fire, a strange wind rose from the east. It carried the scent of rain and the voice of Iya Orun, the old priestess. "My son," the wind whispered, "the time has come. The gods have weighed the kingdom and found its ruler wanting. Return and let truth walk again upon the land." Aderoju stood, lifted his staff, and began his journey back home. When he reached the borders of Ìlú Wura, he found fields barren, houses empty, and people weak from hunger. But when they saw him, their hearts lifted like the first light after darkness. "The prince has returned," they cried. "Perhaps the gods have not forgotten us." That night, thunder rolled over the land, but not with anger, this time with cleansing. Lightning flashed as the priestess gathered the people before the palace gates. The kingmakers, the very men who had betrayed the crown, were brought out trembling. Chief Olowu fell on his knees and confessed, "We took the gold. We lied before the gods. Forgive us before the earth opens her mouth." As his words fell, a loud crack split the ground beside him, and the palace pillars shook. Oba Fagbemi rushed out, his royal robe torn, his eyes wild with fear. He shouted, "No, I am the king. The gods chose me." But the priestess raised her staff. "Did the gods choose you, or did gold buy your crown?" At that moment, a bolt of lightning struck the palace roof. Fire spread, and the royal crown fell from Fagbemi's head, rolling into the dust before Adoroju's feet. The people fell silent. Then, one by one, they bowed before the true heir. Fagbemi wept and fell to the ground. The priestess spoke again. "Let mercy follow justice, but let every man remember, a throne taken by deceit is a curse upon its bearer." Adoroju was crowned under the open sky, with no gold, no feast, only the truth. As the sacred drum beat once more, rain began to fall, soft, cleansing rain. The rivers flowed again, the crops rose green from the soil, and children laughed in the streets. Iya Orun looked to the heavens and said, "Ìlú Wura has found its heart again." The people shouted, "Ah, say, so shall it be." And from that day, a law was carved upon the palace gate. Gold can buy a crown, but only truth can keep it shining. Thus ends the story of Ìlú Wura, the land that lost its light and found it again. When greed sits upon the throne, even the gods withdraw their blessings. But when truth returns, even dry bones will dance once more.